It's the Right Word Awakened, an invigorating engagement of words, spirit, mind, and self. With word stylist Emily, you can call her Claudette Freeman. Reimagine your words, rewrite your power, recreate your life, renew your story, right here on the Right Word Awakened podcast. It's all part of the Right Word Awakened movement, an Emily Claudette Freeman vibe.
And we're back on the Right Word Awakened podcast. As I promised, we had Stephanie Outten come back because we needed to finish our conversation on the 4 phases from cocoon to wings. And phase 1, Stephanie talked about I imagine me. This is the I imagine me phase. And just recap for us what that phase is again, Steph.
So in the I imagine me phase, that's where you are looking at those pivotal points in your life where you realize that a shift needs to happen and you start to take the action steps to move into that transformation place.
And then phase 2 was reverse the curse. And I love a question that you raised in this phase. What do you continue to trap yourself in? What do you continue to trap yourself in? Because that says that you have to realize that stuff that's happening in your life, you absolutely have control over. And so there's something that you continue to put yourself into. And I love that. So tell us a little bit about, recap phase 2 for us again.
Yeah, so phase 2, reversing that curse, is where you shed your old skin. It's when you realize that your transformation process is so big and you're educating yourself around those things that need to change in your life so that you no longer stay trapped in your old place, that old historical pain, those things that have kept you trapped to that person that you used to be and that's keeping you from the person that you are supposed to be. So shedding your old skin, those old habits, those old people that keep you trapped to who you are, and reversing that curse and creating an environment where you can truly speak those curses out loud and be able to pray through those curses to break them over your bloodline and over yourself. So
now here comes the good stuff. We want phase 3. We want phase 3.
Phase 3. Yes. So let me just shift quickly. I want to move people from that space of phase 2 into that stage of 3. But when we think about how, and I think I ended by talking about the caterpillar and how we can't stay in that stage too long in stage 2 because we're becoming so big, right? We can't stay trapped. And what happens is it's just like when you start to gain a few pounds and your clothes feel too tight, you want to rip those things off and you want to change into something that fits, right? Yeah. That's the key. Yeah. So when you start to go through that transformation process and those old habits, those old relationships, those old places and old things, they just don't fit you any longer, right? And it's time to shed that old skin. It's time to get rid of that. And for me, when I wrote my first novel, Is This the Way to Joy, I was going through a transformation process. And I didn't know it at the time, but that's exactly what God was doing to me in that process. He was shifting me. I was shedding the pain of my past and what was then the pain of my current state, right? So over a 1-year period of time before I published my book, I literally experienced a transformation point where I woke up. And it's not that literal waking up, but I woke up in my mind. And that's what I want people to see, is that you have to be able to wake up in your mind to shift your mindset. And for me, I began to realize I was being stifled by my life and I needed out, but I didn't know how to open my mouth. So I had to write my way through my pain, and I wrote my way into my transformation, which is
and I remember one of the first conversations we had in our engagement on your book was, for whatever reason, I asked you something along the lines of, okay, what is the story are you hiding behind? Or are you trying to hide from or something? And I remember thinking, okay, why am I asking her this? But as you worked more and more on that book and we talked about it, I saw it. I heard it in your voice. I saw it in your writing. And I guess you saw the same thing.
Oh, yeah. I saw it. When I say Claudette cracked me open, she allowed me to really dig deep into those painful things that I was afraid to talk about. And in Soul Talk, which is the anthology that I was a part of, where I shared my true story, I talk about how so many times, we try to hide from the pain. And as women, most often, we end up sleepwalking through our own lives, right? We're walking around in these living comas, right? Yes. And who wants to be in a living coma?
No.
Who wants that? And
Doesn't
that's
sound
where
very
I was.
fun.
Not at all. And that's where I was. It was such a painful place that I was walking around like a dead person, right? Dead to my feelings, dead to all of the things happening around me, because I was allowing myself to be trapped in my own pain. And it was when I got that awakening, where I talked about in segment 1 about when my now ex-husband asked for a divorce. That was my awakening. That was my transformational point where I said, okay, I don't have him to rely on anymore. I have to start doing some things differently for myself. And that's when I said, I started to really write my way into my transformation, which is what leads me to stage 3. And for any of you who know about the butterfly, stage 3 has such a crazy name. It's, the chrysalis or the pupa, which really is about transformation. And this is the stage I like to call write your joy story. Write your joy story. Because stage 3 is a beautiful place, right? It's that stage where the caterpillar stops growing and forms that chrysalis or that pupa around itself. And that pupa takes on the color of the things around it. And as humans, we're constantly evolving, right? We're always going to be evolving. But there comes a time when we have to sit still. We have to let everything we learn start to settle in. And in this transformation stage, we're now surrounding ourselves with our new friends, with our new experiences, our new way of being that allows us to shift to that final stage of who we are supposed to be, right? So when you think about the caterpillar, in this stage, it's taking on the color of things that it's surrounded by. And this helps to protect it. It keeps it hidden from danger. So when you surround yourself with new friends and new experiences, they're designed to protect you from falling prey to those things that kept you trapped in the egg and the larva stages of your life. They're the ones that's designed to speak life into you and be a shield of protection from those things that once harmed you, right? So now when you have that protection around you, you can rest. Just like the butterfly has to rest, the caterpillar has to rest at this stage, because when you rest, that's when you begin your transformation process. And when the change happens, it starts to happen so quickly you don't even recognize yourself anymore. Right. Just like when I was going through my divorce, I didn't recognize myself anymore. I had become a whole different person. And people have to think, what is that transformational point for you when you didn't even recognize yourself anymore? Because you became a different person. That transformation that you started to go through has made you look different. It makes you feel different.
Yes. Yes. I want to talk a little bit more about that, Stephanie, before we get to page 4. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and do just that.
Are you married? Do you and your husband both have term life insurance? If you both don't, you should. You have a lot to protect. Call now, get a free quote for your husband, and while you're at it, get a quote for yourself too, because you both need term life insurance. Call now. 800-915-9542, 800-915-9542, 800-915-9542. Rates are at all-time lows. We'll shop over 30 top-rated companies to get you the best possible rates. Term life insurance, it's the perfect way to protect the quality of your family's lifestyle. You and your husband both need term life insurance, so call now for a free quote for the both of you. 800-915-9542, 800-915-9542, 800-915-9542.
Why have thousands of aspiring authors teamed up with Christian Faith Publishing to publish their book? Because Christian Faith Publishing is an author-friendly publisher who understands that your labor is more than just a book. We provide authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4811. 800-978-4811. 800-978-4811. That's 800-978-4811.
Now back to the show to employ reimagined words and stories in the strategic plotting of your life journey. The Right Word Awakened.
We're back on the Right Word Awakened podcast. Stephanie, you said something going into the break about not even really recognizing the change, that transformation in yourself. And for me, there are several things in my life that really shifted, I would say, the last maybe 3 to 5 years. I mean, really shifted, where in just moments where you talked about sitting still, and those sitting still and just having that moment where you create deliberate peace around you, you have those moments where you realize your thoughts about yourself have really shifted. Your thoughts about what you want in your life have shifted. Your thoughts about the energy that's around you in your life really shifts, and you realize that you've been moving through a period of transformation. It's not always abrupt or big or, lights and sirens. Most of the time, if I'm following you correct, it can be very subtle things, but it takes a pivotal thing to suddenly make you realize the little things have been there.
Yes, you're so right, Claudette. It's those moments where you truly just sit down at one with yourself. And that was hard for me. I was so used to surrounding myself with other people's energies and other people's beings that when it was time for me to just sit still and embrace what it is that God was trying to teach me in this transformation process, I began to see so many new things about myself. And I began to see those small, like you said, those small things that were happening that led to the pivotal moment when my transformation came. But sitting still and being at rest and allowing yourself to be at one with your thoughts and really at one with your core, you start to hear things and see things and remember things and believe things that have now gotten you to a place of this transformation point where you can no longer go backwards. You can't go back to what you used to experience and who you used to be. There's just no way, because you back to stage 2, you have outgrown that. You've shed that. So you have to shift forward.
Yeah.
Because you're uncomfortable now in that place where you used to be.
Yes. So when we're writing our joy stories, Stephanie, are we writing the life that we want to create? So are we writing our new life in color, or are we also writing those little moments where transformation has already taken place? What should be included in our joy story?
It's so interesting you asked that, Claudette, because I believe that everyone's joy story is unique. It's unique to them. I can never tell a person what should be included in their joy story, because their joy story is their own. Can I give you some little, things that I did to work through my own joy story? Of course. But your story and my story are two totally different things, even if we went through some of the same experiences. So you have to be able to define what your life is going to look like. If anyone follows Lisa Nichols, she always talks about having that, that remarkable life, right? This life that is so uniquely, breathtakingly, abundantly, beautifully new, right? That's what your joy story is. That's what you want to create for yourself. And so whether it be nuggets that got you to that point, whether it be the pain points that got you to that point, whether it be the transformational markers that were used to get you to that point, you have to define what the end story looks like, because the end story is your joy story, and how you get there is all up to you.
But it is your story of evolution, your story of newness.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
All right, phase 4.
Phase 4. Phase 4 for the butterfly is called adult, right? And that's where this beautiful butterfly is about to take flight and reproduce. I love to call this reclaiming your power. Reclaiming your power. So finally in stage 4 is where the chrysalis opens up, right? And that's where, going back to stage 3, that chrysalis, that pupa that was keeping that caterpillar covered, now the chrysalis is opening up and that butterfly starts to come out. It's the adult stage where the butterfly's wings, they're still damp, they're still soft, and they're still folded against its body. And as we transform into our own butterfly stage as humans, we're still a little wet behind the ears. You hear people use that saying, right? You're still wet behind the ears. Because this is when that transformation thing is so new to us. We don't really know what to do, right? We're still trying to grow into our new self. We're trying to figure out how to actually leap and set our wings free. Do we always get it right? Absolutely not. But it's a part of the process. We have to keep trying. We have to keep discovering and keep growing in order to actually get to the place where our wings can start to grow. But in this stage, just like the butterfly, once we rest for a bit, and if you notice, I talked about resting in the previous stage. I talked about resting in this stage, because you always have to have those moments of rest. You always have to have those moments of peace, because rest and peace is what rejuvenates us, right? If we go through life and we spend 24 hours awake, we're going to be fully exhausted. We're not going to be able to be of benefit to ourselves, much less anyone else. So you have to rest. So just like the butterfly in this stage, once we rest for a bit and we start to explore who we are at this stage, that's when we get that life pumping blood into our wings. And we get that through our positive self-talk. We get that through our affirmations. And I love how, Claudette, you did that affirmation at the end of the last show. I embrace the process of transformation, and I am encouraged by what it brings. We have to speak those things into our lives. We have to speak those things and call them into existence in our lives. You know, that's where our transformed mindset and our new friends and our new experiences come into place. All those things are what starts pumping that blood into our wings. And when we have all that, that's when our wings can start to lift up from our bodies. And that's when we can actually take flight. And then we can soar personally, professionally, spiritually, in everything that we do. Because we've now started planting those seeds of encouragement into our own lives. We've started planting those seeds of transformation. We've planted those seeds of positive affirmation. You know, those I am statements, those I am great. I am powerful. I am beautiful. I'm amazing. We plant those I am seeds that allow us to continue to grow and take flight in this new life we've created, in this joy story. Is where we reclaim the power that we never knew we had.
And
right?
It's just eye-opening when you think about how, you know, these phases, and you explain it as it relates or as it corresponds with the life of the caterpillar to the butterfly. And so in working with people, Stephanie, because many times you hear something like this, and I know in talking to people like Dr. Vicki Johnson and others, one of the things, and you said it, you have to want the transformation. If you want to be stuck in your victim story, or you want to be stuck in the that's just who I am, that's just how I've always been, there are some life consequences to that. So if you get in any particular phase, you get in phase 2, and you say, okay, well, you know what, I don't want to reverse the curse. I don't want to do that. It's just, you know, it's like you mentioned, it's just my family history. It's just us. It's how our family is. then that keeps you from phase 3, does it not?
Of course it does. And that's when I tell people at that point, call me when you're ready. Call me when you're ready, because you're not ready, right? If you're in that stage of, I imagine me, and that I imagine me stage is so exciting, right?
Yeah,
so
that sounds like, okay.
I see this beautiful life. I have this vision of what I want, but we are so afraid to shed our old skin and our old habits. We're afraid to get rid of those old relationships, and we stay stuck because we like it there. We love our own pity parties, right? Because that's when people are most attracted to us. But when you get to that point and you say, I can't reverse the curse. I don't even know what the curses are about. Okay, well, just call me when you're ready. When you're ready to figure it out, when you're ready to actually take the steps to shed your old skin, that stuff that's been damaging you forever, let me know, right? So we can start the real work. Because right now you're playing games, and you're playing games with your own life.
Yes.
And you're setting yourself up for this pattern of continual pain that you'll never be able to get out of.
Right. And the truth of the matter, I think one of the things that we have to face and admit to ourselves is nothing happens. I don't believe anything happens by accident. So if you end up in a situation where you encounter someone like you or someone like me, you hit that place because your life is saying, okay, I need to be challenged. You need to be challenged. We have to do something else.
Yes.
Because clearly this is not working. This is not working. We've got to do something else. And I think you recognize it too. It's hard because you see it in someone and you really want them to, in that old movie, come to the light. But you can't pull someone. You can't pull someone into their own light, because what's going to happen is if they don't want it, they'll bring that darkness where you're trying to pull them.
That's right. Oh, I love that, Claudette.
So when and reclaiming your power, Stephanie, because this seems to me like this would be a difficult phase for a lot of us, because we're reclaiming. So that means we have to go back somewhere and realize we had some power in the beginning, or somewhere we had some power.
Yeah, the power is in us. What we choose to do is let it sit dormant, right? So that's why I say reclaim, because it's already in there. You just haven't tapped into it. You haven't figured out that place in you where that power really lies. Sometimes we fall into these traps of these bad relationships because we don't recognize our power as individuals. And, speaking of us, because we're women, we don't recognize our power as women and the power that we actually can have in relationships to ensure that we're not being treated poorly, mistreated, and put in situations of feeling like we don't have any value in that relationship. We haven't tapped into our power so that we can really attract that man who is going to be able to fill our cup and be able to treat us in the way that we were designed to be treated. But when you're ready to really figure out where that power is and go after it and reclaim it, you take yourself to a whole new place, a whole new stage of transformation. And it doesn't stop there. Because once you get to that place of reclaiming your own power, it doesn't stop there, right? The process starts all over again. Yeah. Because just like with the butterfly, when you get to that transformation place, you start to release new eggs, right? And those new eggs are you pouring into the lives of others, pouring into the lives of those that God has assigned to you, because we're all on an assignment. And there are people along our path that we're supposed to touch. So when we get through our transformation stage and we start to release our own new eggs, we get to watch those eggs move into that larva stage, right? We get to see them move into that pupa stage, and then we get to see them move into adults. And we get to watch them break their own shells just like we did. They get to break the shell in order to set their own wings free to soar. And once you start to see that, all the while your own joy cup continues to overflow. I love the overflowing joy cup. Anyone that knows me, follows me, they know I always talk about my overflowing joy cup, because that's what we're designed to have in our transformation process, right? And once we see that joy cup overflowing, that's when we can keep that life cycle going, and we can create an environment of transformed lives where people don't have to stay stuck, where people don't have to, stay in that painful story. People don't have to stay in a place of feeling powerless. People don't have to stay in a place of feeling like, oh, I'm stuck in this curse forever and I can't imagine a new life for myself. Yes, you can. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. And it's just that easy. Right.
You have to. So close us out, Stephanie, with some thoughts on and some encouragement on why it is so important that we fully step into our wings, that we fully put on our wings and get out there and fly.
I always have to think about myself and why it was important for me. And individuals can take this, for what it is for themselves. But when I discovered that I was placed on this earth for a reason, there is a reason why each and every one of us is here. And when we discover that we have a purpose, just like I discovered that I had a purpose, and that purpose was for me to be able to speak life into other human beings, for me to go through that painful place that I had to go through and position myself into my powerful place in order to help other people get to that same place. When you realize you have a purpose, your life takes on a whole new meaning. So sit still and figure out what your purpose is. And if you can't figure it out, trust me, I can work with you, Claudette can work with you. We can all work with you to be able to get into an environment where you can understand what your purpose is. Because your purpose is that thing that you enjoy doing every time you wake up in the morning. That one thing you think about, it brings a smile to your face. Start thinking about that and discover what that purpose is so you can live your life on purpose and in purpose.
Yeah.
Walk in that purpose every day, because that is such a powerful place to be. And I feel so sad for people who walk around and say, I don't know my purpose. The fact that you woke up today means you have a purpose. Absolutely. You have to just be ready to tap into what that is so you can walk in that joyful place and be able to extend your reach to other people who say the same thing. I don't know what my purpose is. Encourage them. Yes, you do. And here's how I was able to seek out my purpose, by simply waking up today and recognizing that I was here for a reason, and I'm not going to leave this earth until that purpose is fulfilled.
You better preach, girl. Tell us where people can connect with you online if they're interested in working with you. Tell us where people can just network with you.
Yeah, thank you for that. So you can find me. My website is Stephanie Outten, StephanieOutten.com. So StephanieOutten.com is my website. You can learn about my coaching programs as well as my publishing services. You can find me on Facebook at Stephanie Outten, or on my fan page at Stephanie Outten /author speaker. And you can also find me on Instagram at Stephanie Outten and Twitter at Steph Outten 20. So numerous ways that you can connect with me. Sign up on my website for my email list so you can find out what things I have coming up next. I love working with individuals. I'm working on an event that will introduce one of my signature coaching programs, the Breaking the Shell program, where I work with individuals over a 90-day period of time to get you to that place of breaking your shell, mind, body, and spirit, so that you can soar. And I'm also in the process of developing a new coaching program, Write Your Joy Story. So working with individuals who want to know how to go about writing their joy story. It will be a group coaching program. So that's in the development stages, but certainly you'll learn more about that if you follow me through my email subscription list that you can sign up for on my website. And we can just continue to grow together. I believe that as individuals, we have to create those environments where we have our circle of influence and those people that really inspire us to be our greatest selves every day. And if you don't have those people around you, time to start shedding that skin. Get rid of those people. Invite new people into your life. And I'm grateful for people like you, Claudette, who, you know, came into my life through my sister-in-law, who said you are an amazing person to work with, and she was absolutely right. And I'm so grateful for the friendship that you and I have formed to be able to get us to this place today. So thank you so much for having me.
And I can't wait to come up that way and hang out with the two of you. I got to make that happen soon.
Yes.
Soon.
Yeah, we got to get down there to see you.
How about that? Thank you so much for joining us, Stephanie. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Claudette, and thank you to the Right Word Awakened audience. We appreciate you tuning in with us today.
So listen, guys, I always like to close the show with an affirmation and intention and your move action. So our affirmation for this conversation, stepping into your wings, is I embrace the process of transformation and I am encouraged by what it brings. Your intention, I learn all I need for positive and productive metamorphosis in my life, and then I teach it to others. And your move, I'm going to switch up a little bit because I loved what Stephanie said, so I'm going to switch it up a little bit. And your move is going to be taken from phase 1 and phase 3 that she talked with us about. So for this, your move, I want you to just take one sheet of paper and I want you to create a book cover. And the title on your book cover is I Imagine Me, and then your name. And then I want you to write your joy story. Stephanie encouraged us to write your joy story. So that's what I want you to do. And if your joy story flows for 10 pages, if it flows for 50, if it flows for 5, be authentic to you. And I want you to embrace this book, your joy story, that you will then have created. See you next time right here on the Right Word Awakened podcast. I am Claudette Freeman.
You've been listening to The Right Word Awakened, an invigorating engagement of words, spirit, mind, and self with word stylist Emily. You can call her Claudette Freeman. Want more information? Visit www.eclaudetteliterary.com. For sponsor, guest, and other show information, email rightwordawakened@eclaudetteliterary.com. Until next time, tell your words to wake up.